Jaya Gopi Jana Vala Girivarada Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari. Krishna is the lover of Radha. He displays many amorous pastimes in the groves of Vrindavana. He is the lover of the cowherd maidens of Raj, the holder of the great hill named Govardhan, the beloved son of Mother Yashoda, the delighter of the inhabitants of Raj, and he wanders in the forests along the banks of the river Yamuna. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. The universe embraces each one of us, yet we can be so blinded by darkness. Because our true teachers guide us with the torchlight of knowledge, our eyes can be opened to the power and sweetness of illumination. Therefore, let us bow down to all those who guide us on our spiritual path. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Shatarine. I offer my obeisances to my spiritual master who gave me beautiful Kantimala, effulgent tilak, the beautiful form of a devotee, and who offered me the shelter. In one of his hands he is holding my hand, and with his other hand he is holding the lamp of knowledge, which helps me to cross over the dark ocean of the material world. Surdas says my guru deserves my greatest respect because only he can rescue one in the blinking of an eye. I bow to him again and again and again. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasari Shri Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Rama. And with that, I want to request some blessings, prayers on my behalf that this class may be a successful one. In the past, I heard this beautiful, at least something that I found beautiful, description of what makes a class, a Bhagavatam class or a scripture class successful. And one of the biggest indicators is that it inspires one to read, chant, and speak about the Lord. So maybe with that we can have that intention to perhaps even have our ears and hearts more open to hear something that we can truly stick with for the day or for multiple days and weeks maybe, and for that to be an inspiration to come closer to Krishna. So I'm going to go into the verses and then I'm going to read more things. So today we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 72, verses 38 to 45. I'm going to go ahead and share the screen. Okay. Pritavilokya Bhratre Yam Krishnam Tribhuvaneshwaram Pritatmotaya Paryankat Sasnusha Parisasvaje Translation: when Queen Pritha saw her nephew Krishna, which is also Queen Kunti, different name from Queen Kunti, the master of the three worlds, her heart became filled with love. Rising from her couch with her daughter-in-law, she embraced the Lord. Purport: Queen Kunti's daughter-in-law is the famous Draupadi. Govindam griham aniya deva devasham adritaha pujayam navidat krityam pramutophahato nirpaha. King Yudhishthira respectfully brought Lord Govinda, the supreme god of gods, notice the capital and the small g, to his personal quarters. The king was so overcome with joy that he could not remember all the rituals of worship. Srila Prabhupada writes, as he brought Krishna within the palace, King Yudhishthira became so confused in his jubilation that he practically forgot what he was to do at the time in order to receive Krishna and worship him properly. Vitsvasur Guru Srinam Krishna Chakra Vivadanam Swayam Cha Krishna Ya Rajan Bhagindya Chabi Vanditaha. Lord Krishna bowed down to his aunt and the wives of his elders, O king, and then Draupadi and the Lord's sister bowed down to him. Let's remember that this is still a conversation. And so the speaker is still addressing King Parikshit when he is speaking and describing the pastimes. Srila Prabhupada writes, Lord Krishna delightfully offered his respects and obeisances to Kunti and other elderly ladies of the palace. His young sister Subhadra was also standing there with Draupadi, and both offered their respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of the Lord. Swashra Sanjadita Krishna Krishna Patnishcha Sarvashaha Anarcha Rukminim Satyam Bhadram Jampavatim Tatha Kalindim Mitravindam Cha Shaipyam Nagnajitim Satim Anyaschapya Gatayastu Vasakshran Mandanadipi. Many beautiful names. Encouraged by her mother-in-law, Draupadi worshipped all of the Lord Krishna's wives present then, including Rukmini, Satyabhama, Bhadra, Jambavati, Kalindi, Mitravinda, the descendant of Shivi, the chaste Nagnajiti, and the other queens of the Lord who were present. Draupadi honored them all with such gifts as clothing, flower garlands, and jewelry. Shukham nivasayam asa dharma rajo janardanam sasainyam sanugat matyam sabharyam cha navam navam. King Yudhishthira arranged for Krishna's rest and saw to it that all who came along with him, namely his queens, soldiers, ministers, and secretaries, were comfortably situated. He arranged that they would experience a new feature of reception every day while staying as guests of the Pandavas. This translation is taken from Srila Prabhupada's Krishna, or the Krishna book. This is our last verses. Tarpayitva khandavena vanim bharguna samyutah mochayitva mayam yena ragnigrivya sabhakrita uvasakati chinmasan rajnaha priya chikrisaya viharan ratam aruya Falgunena pater vitraha. Desiring, this is where we go to synonyms. Tarpayitva, satisfying, Khandavena, with the Khandava forest, Vanim, the fire god, Phalguna by Arjuna. Samyutaha accompanied, Muchayitva saving, Mayam the demon Maya, Yena by whom, Dagne for the king Yudhishthir, Divya celestial, Sabha assembly hall, Krita made, Uvasa he resided, Katichit several, Masan months, Ragnyaha to the king, Priya pleasure, Chikirsaya with a desire to give, Biharan sporting, Ratham his chariot, Aruhya riding, Palgunena with Arjuna, Pate by guards, Vritaha surrounded. Now translation by the amazing disciples of Srila Prabhupada. Desiring to please King Yudhishthir, the Lord resided at Indraprastha for several months. During his stay, he and Arjuna satisfied the fire god by offering him the Khandava forest, and they saved Maya Danava, who then built King Yudhishthira a celestial assembly hall. The Lord also took the opportunity to go riding in his chariot in the company of Arjuna, surrounded by a retinue of soldiers. Purport: Srila Prabhupada writes in Krishna, it was during this time that Lord Sri Krishna, with the help of Arjuna, for the satisfaction of the fire god Agni, allowed Agni to devour the Khandava forest. During the forest fire, Krishna saved the demon Mayasura, who was hiding in the forest. Upon being saved, Mayasura felt obliged to the Pandavas and Lord Krishna, and he constructed a wonderful assembly house within the city of Hastinapur. Hastinapur is another name of, why am I forgetting the name? The name of the chapter, Indraprastha. In this way, Lord Krishna, in order to please King Yudhishthira, remained in the city of Hastinapur for several months. During his stay, he enjoyed strolling here and there. He used to drive on chariots along with Arjuna, and many warriors and soldiers used to follow them. Thus end the purports of the humble servants of His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, to the 10th canto, 71st chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled The Lord Travels to Indraprastha. So, we've read the verses, we finished the chapter, let's speak about them a little more. So first, I would like to read, I was reading also from Krishna book for the context, and I felt that it was just so beautiful that I actually copied like 2 paragraphs that I wanted to read, and both bring us a little bit backwards into the beginning of the chapter so we can remember some things as we approach the end of the chapter, and also to just gather more sweetness as well. And so most of the chapters of the 10th canto align in numbers or close to numbers in the Krishna book. So we are doing the chapter 71st, and this is chapter 70 in the Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That's the full title of the book that I hope we all know and love. And the title of that chapter is Lord Krishna in Indraprastha city. So I'm going to read and comment a little bit. This advice of Uddhava was appreciated, and that's the advice to go to Indraprastha. And that's an advice towards Krishna. This advice of Uddhava was appreciated by all who were present in the assembly, and everyone considered that Lord Krishna's going to Hastinapur would be beneficial from all points of view. The great sage Narada, the elderly personalities of the Yadu dynasty, and the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna himself all supported the statement of Uddhava. Lord Krishna then took permission from his father Vasudeva and grandfather Ugrasena, and he immediately ordered his servants Daruka and Jaitra to arrange for travel to Hastinapur. When everything was prepared, Lord Krishna especially bid farewell to Lord Balaram and the king of the Yadus, Ugrasena, And after dispatching his queens along with their children and sending their necessary luggage ahead, he mounted his chariot, which bore the flag marked with the symbol of Garuda. So what I find here, and this theme is going to come back as I speak about the verses of today, because I really feel like these themes are just like so strongly embedded in this chapter, is this beautiful friendship and relationships that Krishna has, the sweetness of those relationships that he has with devotees, to the point that, you know, the Lord who knows everything and is fully independent is still seeking advice and counsel from Uddhava, who is his dear friend, and is allowing the devotees to give him advice and truly like ponder what is the right course of action, and essentially like creating this situation in which they are in a way bearing the responsibility for the decision, even though he is the supreme controller of everything. And then he's taking permission and blessings, seeking blessings from his grandfather, from Vasudev, um, for the success of this journey, and then asks his servants to arrange for the comfort of his queens and his families, for them to have everything that they need for the trip, which I just find to be so incredibly beautiful. This really moment of like the Lord almost surrendering to his devotee to ask for shelter and for their own insight and for their own knowledge, even though he is granting them that intelligence and that knowledge. I'll continue. This is a paragraph I also found so beautiful. It's actually 2 sentences. Before starting the procession, Lord Krishna satisfied the great sage Narada by offering him different kinds of worshipable articles. Naradaji wanted to fall at the lotus feet of Krishna, but because the Lord was playing the part of a human being, he simply offered his respects within his mind, and fixing the transcendental form of the Lord within his heart, he left the assembly house by the airways. And so that also I find so incredibly sweet, that there is this unspoken agreement that is made visible to us through Srila Prabhupada's mercy, that the sage Narada is so exalted that he is fully rightfully situated in perceiving Krishna as the supreme person, always offering his obeisances to him, always worshiping him within his heart and mind, and in a situation in which he wants to do it, and this is his, so to speak, mode of operandi, like that he would just fall on the ground and offer his full obeisances. The pastime is not welcoming that. Like the mood of the pastime is just not supportive for this act of worship to be externalized. And so he is still choosing to do it, but to do it within his mind, to essentially play further into the pastime and to support it the way with the mood that Lord Krishna wants. So this is again so sweet that essentially the devotees are intertwined and weaved into all those pastimes to the point that they sometimes even need to change their behavior for the pleasure of the Lord, so that the story can unfold the way it's in a way meant to be. So I just also find that to be very beautiful. And that brought me to the verses of Bhagavad Gita, and I'm going to read 2 different translations, starting with Prabhupada translation. This is Bhagavad Gita chapter 11, verse 43 and then 44. You are the father of this complete cosmic manifestation of the moving and the non-moving. You are its worshipable chief, the supreme spiritual master. No one is greater than you, nor can anyone be one with you. How then could there be anyone greater than you within the 3 worlds, O Lord of immeasurable power? You are the supreme Lord, to be worshipped by every living being. Thus I fall down to offer you my respectful obeisances and ask your mercy. As a father tolerates the impudence of his son, a friend the impudence of a friend, or a husband the familiarity of his wife, please tolerate the wrongs I may have done. And this is another translation by Graham M. Schweig or Garuda Prabhu. You are the father of the world, of the moving and the non-moving, and you are to be honored as its most worthy guru. There is no other equal to you. How could there be anyone greater? Even in all the three worlds, O one of incomparable being. Therefore, bowing down, prostrating my body before you, I ask you, the worshipable Lord, to bestow your grace. As a father is to a son, as a friend to a friend, as a dearly loved one to a dearly beloved, be pleased to show your loving kindness, O divinity. And I'm bringing this because I find that that moment of obeisances to also carry so much of love and specificity of that love, and then the all kinds of relationships that one can have with the Lord, which is so special. And so here, what I wanted to bring as well, and this is something again that is so cherishable in our tradition, especially seeing and focusing on the relationship with Krishna as the Supreme Lord, is that there are 4 qualities that are unique to Lord Krishna of all the Vishnu avatars, which is something that will not be found in other places, essentially in other relationship. And the first thing is Lila Madhurya, and that means he is an okay, I'm going to read what is described in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Nectar of Devotion. He is an undulating ocean of astonishing pastimes, out of which Rasa Lila is supremely captivating. And so there is that potential of the mood of conjugal love and that relationship to be present and the pastimes that come out of that. And there's Prema Madhurya. He's surrounded by the devotees who possess incomparable Madhura Prema, which develops up to the stage of Mahabhava, the loving relationship between, and that means the loving relationship between himself and his devotees are not found in any other revelation of God. And this is what I already started to speak, there is so much sweetness in those relationships. And that sweetness is ever expanding and ever growing. And there will be more as I comment on other verses. And then there is Venu Madhurya, which is the sweet and mellow sound of his flute attracts the minds of everyone within the 3 worlds. If you want to know more about that, perhaps you can also read the Venu Gita, the descriptions of the glories of the flute and the flute song of Lord Krishna, which is its very specific feature, and it's all enchanting to the creation. And then there is Rupa Madhurya. His extraordinary beauty astonishes all moving and non-moving entities, and specifically that 3-fold bend of his body. So here I'm going to continue reading. The audience of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, is not very commonplace. Therefore, when King Yudhishthira heard that Lord Krishna has already arrived in his capital city, Hastinapur, he became so joyful that all his bodily airs stood on end in great ecstasy, and he immediately came out of the city to properly receive him. He ordered the musical vibration of different instruments and songs, and the learned brahmanas of the city began to chant the hymns of the Vedas very loudly. Lord Krishna is known as Rishikesha, master of the senses, and King Yudhishthira went forward to receive him exactly as the senses meet the consciousness of life. King Yudhishthira was the elderly cousin of Krishna. Naturally, he had great affection for the Lord, and as soon as he saw him, his heart became filled with great love and affection. He had not seen the Lord for many days, and therefore he thought himself most fortunate to see him present before him. The king therefore began to embrace Lord Krishna again and again in great affection. And so that's again about the embrace of the Lord. It's really incredible to even like meditate on that embrace between King Yudhishthir and Krishna, and then in that pastime he embraces so many of his family members and so many devotees dear to him. And it's described that upon every single one of those embraces, they're falling into ecstasy, and they are like they can't contain themselves, and the love and affection they're feeling for him is just overflowing, and they are forgetting all the rituals that are they're supposed to follow. And so again, it shows that the love is just that spontaneous expression is even higher than all the regulations. And then it describes the women of Hastinapur. They were pleased to see Lord Krishna passing with his thousands of queens. They began to shower flowers on the procession, and they embraced Lord Krishna within their minds and gave him a hearty reception. When they saw him in the midst of his many queens, like the full moon situated amidst many luminaries, they began to talk amongst themselves. And they also recognize how exalted and fortunate are the queens of Krishna, that they are so exalted they actually even hold that position in that specific relationship with him. And that also reminds us that not only the Lord, but also all that he is connected to, all the personalities he is connected to, the greatness of those personalities comes with or through their relationship with the Lord, but also them in themselves, through the purity of their heart, through the purity of their intention and their surrender, are exalted and worshipable because of that. And so then to go into the verses, I already mentioned about the spontaneous love taking over the rituals, because the deep feeling of love towards the Lord is just, I wouldn't say more important, but it just takes over everything else. And even that is that they are trying to almost come into the relationship of reverence, but their hearts are guiding them into the relationship of friendship or parental mood. And that, kind of catapults them into a very different level of experience. And when I was preparing for this class, I in my mind, I called this chapter a hugging chapter and also a like family reunion chapter, because there are so many embraces in the descriptions here. And I wanted to bring Garuda Prabhu's explanation of an embrace. And in his teachings, an embrace is a way of saying, I accept all of you and I want to know more. I want to hold everything that you are and everything that you are about to become as well. And so in that way, even thinking about all those embraces that the Lord is offering and receiving, it's so incredible that means that every single one of those personalities is like fully giving themselves to the Lord, and he is fully receiving every single part of them that they are bringing to him. And then there is this sibling moment that as Lord Krishna is leaving, he needs to farewell Lord Balaram. And as we know, we've talked about in previous chapters of the 10th canto, they are so close, and they just love each other so much. They're sharing pretty much every single one of the happenings that they're going through, or experiences they're going through. And so he needs to farewell Lord Balaram, and does so with a heavy heart and a sense of longing that is going to come from their apparent separation. And as he leaves and he arrives in Hastinapur, he actually is meeting his sister and reunites with his sister, which is Subhadra. And that is just, again, so sweet to witness. And I was already mentioning how all extensions of the Lord are worshipful. And I also wanted to mention how the king specifically is arranging for this ever expanding reception. Like every day there's something new. And that to me just shows that he's taking all the opportunities for service to please the Lord. And does so with and ever expanding freshness. And that doesn't come again from a sense of ritual. It comes from him loving Krishna to the point that he just wants to continuously serve him, wants to continuously find ways to please him. So I want to end here and ask for reflections or corrections, comments, any questions that you may be having. I do need to leave quite shortly after 8 a.m. So perhaps we can start with those that feel more pressing or not. So this is by William.
Ananda, Manjari, thank you very much. Wonderful class.
Thank you.
A pressing question.
Yes.
So we read these pastimes where Krishna is exchanging love with his devotees, and he's eager to serve them, and they're eager to serve Krishna. And Krishna wakes up in the morning, donates thousands and thousands of cows to please the brahmanas. And then sometimes, let's put it this way, there's a devotee who is struggling financially and their health is down. And, when a devotee in that situation reads those pastimes where Krishna donates thousands of cows and these devotees are arranging trips here and there, and he's staying in this palace and that palace, how does this devotee fall into place there in that particular type of exchange? How to guard against thinking that something is wrong here. I'm not getting what I'm supposed to get, and all these lofty subjects aren't for me. I need to first take care of my immediate material needs. How do we read, in what consciousness should we approach those pastimes when we are in materially pressing situations? That's the question. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, thank you so much for this question. It's like, how do we almost approach the opulence and overflowing of the Lord's specific ways of giving when we feel like maybe we are lacking materially in that way, or it brings us a specific experience of perhaps stress or pressure. I feel one thing is that is a remembrance that everything is still coming from the Lord, and at times He's putting us through certain situations to refine our character or to arrive at a sense of gratitude to be able to actually receive Him or receive more. And also there's that truth that we are not separated from His pastimes, which is our greatest fortune, in a way that even in those passages, there are those who are simply like having a singular glimpse of the Lord, and they are grateful for that, recognizing that they're able to do service as like a way of welcoming the Lord within their heart, and that's like the extent of their service in this pastime, whereas others are like receiving embraces or receiving charity. And so I think that the question is perhaps even turned into ourselves or into our own hearts or minds of like where and why am I holding resentment, and perhaps what brought me into this situation. But it doesn't necessarily mean again that to not receive charity from the Lord or to go through a struggle necessarily means punishment. It may simply mean that this is something that I'm meant to go through for my own purification, and that's also charity towards me. Because ultimately the highest benediction is for us to have a loving relationship with the Lord, to be aware of that relationship and to experience that relationship. And so many experiences that we are going through are simply meant to almost sometimes even speed up the process towards coming closer to the Lord. And that may mean going through discomfort, because that tends to wake us up more than receiving fortunes. So that's my answer. And if there's any addition that somebody would like to add to that, I welcome that.
Thank you, Ananda Manjari. Very satisfying answer. Okay, open mic. Whoever jumps in first goes first.
I'd like to just, Mataji, thank you so much for class today. Hare Krishna. I used to be very, very angry towards Krishna because of some hardships that were falling on me. And I learned that I've been learning, and I'm still learning, that it's happening to me, not to me, but for me. And so while you were giving class today, I was reflecting on the proud and the humble, and how the demon was saved, and Krishna sees the heart of everyone. And sometimes we can become demonic as well in our actions. And it's a very interesting scripture in the Bible that actually kind of speaks about our guru, how important guru is, and how important Krishna is. It says in 1 Peter chapter 5, verses 5 and 6, young men, and I put in young women. It doesn't really say in young women, but I put that. In the same way, submit yourselves to your elders, which is like guru. And all of you, clothe yourselves with humility toward one another, because why? God opposes the proud, but gives grace to the humble. So therefore, humble yourselves, therefore, under God's mighty hand, so that in due time he may exalt you. So I just wanted to share that scripture, because it made me think about how sometimes, without even realizing, we can become proud. And it's very, very important for us to be humble towards Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much. Yeah, and even to add to that, it's like I think we've all experienced, how does the heart feel when it's proud? How does the heart feel when it's humble? And there just isn't a space for a relationship, whether with other devotees or brothers and sisters, as I describe in Christianity, when there's pride. And that's why even in our tradition, we are guarding ourselves against judgments and are really working out the judgments within our hearts, because that's the space that is essentially a lost space for a relationship that could be there, for a loving relationship that could be in our midst is instead of feeling that sense of closed-heartedness and inner clenching that pride comes with, or brings even, I would say. So thank you so much for that point. There's one question, which is, how can we experience Krishna's embrace in our life? And there are two parts of the embrace, and in a way, in my mind, the one is fully taken care of, which is that we can safely assume that Krishna wants to embrace every single one of us, and is like truly waiting for the opportunity to do that as soon as possible. And so, with that being said, the other part of the equation is actually bringing ourselves fully to the Lord. And bringing ourselves fully as we are, so that we can truly be fully embraced. And in our practice, we have the practice of chanting the holy name, and the holy name is non-different from the Lord himself. And even to me, it's like there's this description, I think Sachinandana Swami describes how when we are chanting, it goes from the mouth to the ears to the heart, and it's almost this like circular flow. And to me, almost that feels like an embrace if I do it really nicely. It's like it feels like this flow between the heart and the ears feels so warm. And so I feel like the hardest thing is really how do we trust that Krishna wants to receive every single part of us and bring it to the forefront and actively work on not hiding and releasing shame so we can step into this relationship completely. And then there's also a part of purifying ourselves that we, in a way, and I don't like this wording, but we need to make ourselves worthy, and more so we need to cultivate a consciousness in which we can even understand how exalted that is, and be grateful when we truly even experience glimpses of that embrace. And that's our lifetime of a process. Ultimately, in my mind, our processes of devotional service are leading us towards that embrace.
And sometimes Krishna may embrace us roughly. Right?
Yes.
Okay, Bhima Adipusha Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, perfectly.
If I understood Ananda Bihari's question, he's asking, well, we're hearing about somebody giving thousands of cows, and maybe we don't have so much facility ourselves, and how can we feel about that? Is that the question?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Krishna says, Patram Pushpam Phalam. If you offer me with even a leaf or a flower, some water with love, I will accept it. So our criteria is not how many cows we've given, but that we offered something humble best with love. And our criteria for success is that Krishna is pleased. And anyone in any circumstance is capable of pleasing Krishna. How wonderful is Krishna that he gives us all access like that.
Thank you so much, Adipusha Prabhu. I'm sorry I misunderstood the question, Ananda Vihari.
No, you perfectly addressed it.
Yeah, good class, wonderful class. There's that thing, we always quote this, Saint Teresa of Lisieux says, not everyone is called upon to do great things for the Lord, but any one of us can do some small thing with great love and please Krishna. How wonderful is Krishna? Put some love in it and offer it to the Lord, do your humble best, and you are successful. Don't worry. Okay, he's about to blow the conch shell now.
Hare Krishna, welcome to the Afterglow. Is Premananda Vilas Prabhu here? He left. Okay, we have Bhima Kaviraj. Bhima Kaviraj is back. We missed you, Bhima Prabhu. Please. Bhima Prabhu. See, our body can be present in class, but our mind, our attention may be somewhere else. Bhima Prabhu just got caught. Come on, Bhima Prabhu.
It could be the Wi-Fi too, Papito.
Yeah, true. We shouldn't be quick to judge, especially when it comes to a devotee of Bhima Prabhu's caliber. Okay. Adipurusha Prabhu, are you there?
Hello, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Would you like to speak?
Well, yeah, there's a few other answers. Well,
Hold on. Don't move. It's very choppy. Is it just me, or he's choppy for everyone?
Born and he won't. What? What did
Just
you say?
me? Not just me. Okay. Yeah, walk closer to the router, Adipurusha Prabhu. The connection is very slow. Or stop moving.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the Nandamars, not Nandamars, Vasudeva was in prison. He had no facility, but in his mind, he was offering thousands of cows to Krishna. And there was the other Brahmin who didn't have any facility, but in his mind, he was dressing the deity and cooking sweet rice. And to illustrate the fact that that was a valid offering, when he, in his mind, tested the sweet rice with his finger to see if it was cool, he burnt his finger, you know. So, yeah, Krishna will accept whatever we can offer in 3 dimensions or even mentally with love. Was that clear?
Yeah, very clear. Thank you. And is Krishna aware of our situation? In other words, we're struggling to pay our rent, for example, or struggling with paying our medical bills, and then we're reading about Krishna giving out elephants and cows. You know, Krishna, can't you see I'm in difficulty here? Why are you giving this thousands of cows to these brahmanas who are they have enough, kind of, you know? Is Krishna aware of our struggles? Does he know what's going on?
Yes. Point is to do our best, to try to please Krishna, and Krishna will be pleased.
So even if our needs aren't met yet, we should still focus on pleasing Krishna?
Why not?
Okay, good. Thank you. Thank you for that. Krishna Kumari, you've been given cows. Tell us how it feels.
Well, it's definitely Krishna's will that we were gifted these cows. And it is really difficult to take care of them. So I'm thinking with Adi Purusha's comment, like, couldn't I have just worshipped cows in my mind?
I don't know if it's just me, but it's very, very slow.
It's breaking.
You sound like you're in ecstasy, Krishna Kumari.
So it's a lot. We have a young ox. Thanks. No, well, we have these 2 cows, and it's I'm up all night thinking about them. It's very difficult to figure out how to train an ox and have the proper facility. It's so I was wondering with Adi Purusha's comment if I would have been better off just worshiping them in my mind, you know. But they were gifted, a pure gift. So I'm taking it as Krishna.
Too late, Krishna Kumari. They've been given.
Yeah.
Haribol.
Dima Kaviraj.
Yes. I was going to make an offering that's gold, which is silence, as they say. Am I breaking up or am I clear? I just wanted to make sure.
No, you can hear you.
Okay. So, in regards to Krishna Kumar and the ox, yes, the little oxen. How old?
He's about 10 months now.
Okay, so this is a big challenge. Whenever you have a male animal, of course, he's an oxen now, so he's been gelded, which means he doesn't have the testosterosa, which would be definitely unhandleable. You actually have to make unbelievably strong fencing, and then you always have to get ready to die at any moment when you're dealing with a bull or a stallion, because just one spook out of either, you could be underfoot. I have been under hoof before. So that's a great thing, because then you're living each day as if it's your last when you're dealing with an ungelded bull. But you've got an ox, and so they have this saying, as far as horses go, and the same is true with cows and bullocks, and that is you ask a mare, but you tell a gelding, meaning you have to be very careful around cows or feminine or mares. You have to, as in all the feminine principles represented in our animal world, including us, is that you have to be gentle and you have to prod and simply ask, whereas the male side needs to be guided forcefully. There needs to be barriers, and there needs to be consistency. So you will find that the more you reach out with love, as with a child, on a consistent daily basis, and when I say consistent, I mean if there's that dinner, breakfast should be at the same time, and you use breakfast to lead them, You also should get a ring through his nose. You should also train him to not that if he that everything is standardized, meaning when it's time to put the harness on, when it's time to put when it's time to go with the mother, when it's time to come into the field, when it's time to go out. These things are standard and not haphazard. They thrive on consistency and regularity. They build an inner clock. And this is how you will handle them. And in doing so, you will develop a very, very close relationship with the animal. That animal will learn to respect you, depend on you, and even make friends with you, in the sense that it will always feel at peace, always feel protected, always know that your guidance is the best guidance, which is why positive reinforcement is so much more important than negative reinforcement. They don't understand negative reinforcement, only to fear it and to fear where it's coming from. But positive reinforcement is, if you come here, I will give you a treat. If you come in, I will give you, when you come in, the grain will be in the bucket. When it's time to go out in the field, of course, you don't need any prodding for that. So all these things are necessary, and never, of course, trust. Never trust that they're going to do the right thing. That's why you have to have fences that are unbreakable, because they will wander into the neighbor's land and they will wander out on highways. So I'm sorry for rambling on here, but this is much like our own souls. That Krishna, when we are male, guides us strongly, and when we are females, he entices us. And use that pejoratively, the word us. But if you're feminine in nature, you're won over by Krishna's beauty, by Krishna's promise, by the charm of Krishna, by the charm and the hope of what's to come, by the true gentleman that's in your heart. That's if you're feminine. But if you're masculine, you have to be sort of like whacked into place, and you have to be humbled, and you have to be chastened, and and of course he gives positive reinforcement by giving you treats now and then. So I'm sorry for rambling on. That's what my experience, because I don't know any Shastra. That's what my experience tells me, and that's how I anecdotally switch it over to Krishna consciousness. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Bhima Prabhu. You were talking about oxen, and I was thinking about our own mind. Yeah, put up strong fences, the mind will try to wander off. Put up strong fences, use positive reinforcement. Thank you for that. Thank you. Okay, Annabelle, Isaiah, where are you? Okay, they're left. But they put Hare Krishna in the chat, so that counts. Okay, we see Sundar Anandaji. Sundar Anandaji, can you come here and say Hare Krishna? Filling in for Isaiah. Sundar Ananda. He wandered off. Right. Okay, somebody unmute and say Hare Krishna, please. Who's the most childlike? Please unmute.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Krishna Kumari. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, have a wonderful day. We love you. We need you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dana Krishna Radharani. Good to see you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
That's even better than Isaiah.